Hey everyone, it is Hannon again, and what I'm going to show you in this video is how to take your general idea and formulate it into a research question, and then also how to create your outline. So this video will serve two functions, and so my guess is that you'll have to watch it more than one time to get the gist of how to do it. So if you notice on my screen, I don't have you looking at Noodle Tools just yet. I actually have you looking at a PDF from George Mason University, their writing center, and the focus is how to write a research question. So your research question is the basis of your research, right? It's what guides it. And so there are a few components that every research question needs to have. One, it needs to be clear, right? So your audience needs to understand what it is that you're asking. It should be clear and understandable. The second thing is that it should be focused, right? We don't want it so broad that people can go in a million different places with it. So it should be focused and narrow enough to be answered within the word limit and the page count. It should be concise, so we're going to avoid being overly wordy. It should be complex. So your research question should not be able to be answered with a yes or a no. Rather, it's going to require you to do some explanation and analysis. And then the last piece is that it's arguable. And that means that different people might have different interpretations. And so, again, it's not a yes or a no. It's not just obvious, but something that you're going to essentially prove. So I'm going to scroll down on this document that you have access to. And I want you to pay attention to the types of questions that you will use when you create your research question. And so when you create your research question, it should begin with a word like how or why or what. That's the type of question that will require this explanation that will happen in your research paper. And so underneath here are some samples of research questions. Some of them are unclear, some of them are clear, they're focused, they're simple, right? And so this document goes through how to take your idea and turn it into a clear question. One thing I want you to notice is that every one of them, even the unclear ones, even the unfocused ones, they start with the words how or what. And this one, both of them begin with what, and this last one is how and what. So your research question will need to begin with a how or a what, or really a how or a what question, maybe even a why. So I'm going to jump over into Noodle Tools, and I want to show you in Noodle Tools where you will enter this information. So you will open up to your project, and it'll take you to the dashboard tab. All right, so we're in the dashboard tab. And this is a section that we have not used just yet. So what you will do is you will type in your research question here. And then when you answer your research question, your answer to your research question is your thesis statement. And so I want you to know that your research question is what leads you to your thesis. So in answering your question, you give yourself a thesis. So I'm going to show you a student of mine in the past and how she did hers. Now her topic is going to be different, but you'll get the gist of it. So this student graduated in the class of 2020, and her topic was completely different than ours. However, you will see how she did it. So her question is, what were the primary messages and meanings behind Alice in Wonderland and Peter and Wendy and Peter Pan, right? But if you notice, it's a what question. When she answered it, this is her thesis statement. This is literally what will be, or what was at the end of her intro paragraph when she actually wrote the paper. So you're going to put that there. The other thing you'll be doing at this point in your research paper is you will be creating an outline. And when you do your outline, you need to go to the Note Cards tab. You've already worked in the Note Cards tab because you created your note cards. However, on the right-hand side of the screen is the space where you will do your outline. And so what you see here are all the different functions, right? So this is how you add another layer. So your Roman numeral number 1 is going to be your intro paragraph, right? So I just changed it by double clicking it and changing the words. Now, I want to add for my intro paragraph, I want to see your thesis statement. And so I need to add a section, a subsection. So I'm going to hit this green plus button, but instead of adding a topic, I'm going to add a subtopic or a child. Now, that's not what I wanted it to do. So what I will do is I'll hit this arrow to the right. Oops, I will click that and then hit the arrow to the right, and it will bump everything in. So here is where I'm going to type my thesis. Now remember, your thesis is the exact same thesis right? So you will enter in the exact same thesis that you typed in the dashboard. Do not change it, and that's all you need. And since I have this extra subtopic here, I'm actually going to delete that because I only need my thesis in there. So I'm going to make it blue and delete it. We're good. The next thing that will happen is that you will need to go into Roman numeral 2. So I'm going to add a sibling, and it gives me Roman numeral 2. Now, maybe Roman numeral 2 is where you explain the general idea of the American dream. Right? So this entire section, you're going to talk about the American dream, how it's been defined, whatever you're going to do in that section. As you do that, you'll need to add specific details to that section. So you'll add subtopic. And I'm going to do that again because it messed up. Right? And so you're going to give specific topics and subtopics and so on and so forth. And you will develop your outline. And then when you're done with that, you will go to Roman numeral 3, and you'll talk about women's obstacles in achieving, and I misspelled achieving, so I'm going to fix that really quickly. Right, so maybe that's your third major topic. And again, you're going to start adding subtopics to that so that you can keep developing this. Right, and so you see I'm doing that. If there's a subtopic under subtopic B, I select letter B and I do a child, and that gives me the number 1, right? So this is how you will create your outline. The other thing that you will need, in addition to all of your topics and subtopics and all of these ideas, and in addition to the thesis, which you need to be the same one that you typed on the dashboard, is that you will need to drop in your note cards. Now remember, your note cards have 1 quote per note card. So let's say this article on gender and income really fits in with Roman numeral 3. In fact, it fits perfectly with B1. So what I do is I take my note card and I drag it over, and wherever it's blue is where it will drop. And so now I have my note card with my quote and my explanation and its significance already built in. So when it's time to type, I know what each section is going to be about, I know what the topic will be, and I know exactly what quotes I'll be using. And I've already explained the quote and I've explained its significance, right? And so in building your outline, you're really doing the heavy lifting for your paper. And so for your papers, I suggest that you probably have about 5 or 6 big sections, recognizing that the very last section will be the conclusion. All right, so I have, 5-ish, maybe 6 sections to discuss. And then in each section, there's a breakdown of what you talk about. There's going to be your quotes, and you'll need to include 10 note cards within your entire outline. So you will drag all your note cards in so I can see exactly what quotes will be included in what section. So let me show you another example. I'm going to give you an example from a different student. She was a junior when she wrote this. She graduated in the class of 2018. And I'm going to show you her outline so you can see what a completed outline looks like. Again, her topic is different, but you'll get a sense of what a completed outline should look like in Noodle Tools. So first thing you'll notice on the left is that she has a lot of note cards, right? I'm going to adjust this to make this a little bit wider. And now right now it looks like she just has 7 sections. But when I click the little arrow, oh, there's her whole thesis. And then when she's talking about driving restrictions, here are her subtopics, right? That's going to be a paragraph and the quote. And here's another topic and here's 2 quotes, right? And so I can see exactly what ideas she'll talk about in each section. And I'll know exactly which quotes that she's going to include to support each section. So when you do your outline, it's going to look something like this. I should see your topics, your subtopics. I should see your quotes, that your note cards. I should see your thesis. And this is what a thorough, very thorough outline should look like. So good luck with everything. Put your brains to work. You're almost at the end of this project, and this probably is the most important step of all. So take your time with it. Make sure you do all the pieces. Make sure you watch this video as many times as you need, and I will talk to you soon.